Chase success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne or rum.
We've lost them again.
My God. He will be back.
Sorry about that. I lost myself I lost myself with my sound somewhere else. So I was like, I have to restart. So here I am. Sorry to keep you waiting. Crystal, how you doing? I'm gonna send you the link to join the studio to share, because this is Crystal's topic. A huge topic. Why do empaths always get exploited? What can they do about it? So welcome. Liana, I see you. Good afternoon. Oh, it's nearly midnight here. This is joy of our lives right now. So I got my friends in the studio, so that's more than enough for me to do what we need to do. Krista, you found the link. How you doing? Welcome.
I'm actually at work, but I'm at a very laid back job, so just to let you guys know.
Okay, well, I think that this is your topic, so I guess if you don't mind, help us understand what we're talking about. Really, I'm sure you know what it is. You get it right.
Absolutely. Okay. So when it comes to empaths attracting narcissists, it's not necessarily that they attract them. It's that narcissists actually they target us. They as an empath, because empaths are very emotion led. They feel the emotions of others. They can empathize, and a lot of us have a people saving. Like we always want to help others. We want to help people, or and excuse my language on this one, but Matt calls it my save-a-ho complex, so to speak. And narcissists find it very easy to target us because they will lay out the card, like the sympathy card. Oh, I had an abusive childhood, or play into the same interests. And once an empath gets on an energy level, like with somebody, like with a narcissist, once that level is hooked in, it's very hard to break away. And a lot of narcissists are what I like to call energy vampires. They feed off of the positive and love and dump back in negativity. It's easier to control and bring them down in a way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is. There's something wrong when people try to exploit and take advantage of someone's kindness.
Exactly.
I think that can't be right. I don't want us to think the kind person is the one in the wrong, because they're not. We're all born to be. I think we're all born to be kind naturally. But the empaths have next level kindness. And it's like you say, Chris,
yes.
They have next level want to help people.
Yes. And the thing about a narcissist is narcissists need that validation. Nobody in the world is more important than that. And they want that uplift. It's like a high. They're getting their fix. They get what they need with that energy. Because empaths also have one, and I will call it a fault. We're people pleasers. To a fault. A lot of us are, myself included. It's taken a lot for me to learn to have self-boundaries and realize that saying no doesn't make me selfish. Self-care isn't selfish, kind of thing. But narcissists feed on that. They take that energy, they take that need to help, and they feed off of it, because that's what they want. They want to be the center of the universe, and by finding an empath, they will be. And they feed on it, and they break the empath down, because empathic people are very emotional. They feel energy, they feel others' emotions, and it can be very overwhelming. And so it's easy to target. Is what I'm saying making any sense to you guys?
It makes making perfect sense. It makes perfect sense to me anyway. Definitely it makes sense to my friends as well. I'm sure it does. I suppose like the question then becomes, Crystal, what's it? We'll say we can't leave and say stop being kind.
No, but
So
you can look for red flags. You know, I honestly, I will still want to even be kind to my abuser. I don't want to reach out to him, but when his birthday came around, I had gotten some new pictures of our girls. I actually wanted to be kind and forward them to him through someone else as their father. We still can be kind to narcissists and people that hurt us without hurting ourselves. By setting boundaries within yourself is a big thing. But red flags when it comes to a narcissist targeting. Number one, always follow your gut. A lot of, especially us girls, we romanticize that gut feeling in your stomach, the butterfly feeling that they talk about in movies and in books and stuff. That's actually the body's early warning signal. If you have a gut feeling that something's off, it usually is. Trust it.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's usually little tells. When you start talking about something you're passionate about. Now, in the beginning, a narcissist will either act like they're passionate about it or let you talk and then change the subject. But gradually, they start making everything more about them, their wants, their needs, and they'll start gaslighting. And once that starts to happen, those red flags should come up, And so it's just a matter of knowing yourself and trusting your gut feeling. And I will be honest, a lot of times our friends, our family can see what's happening and will even tell us. And a lot of times we don't want to listen. Guys, I'm going to put it out there. Listen. Listen to what your friends observe about your loved, like your the narcissist in your life, or your significant other, because a lot of times they're telling you this out of love. Narcissists generally tend to abuse their victim or their mark, or they isolate them first before escalating. They will start telling you that your friends, oh, well, they're toxic, or they will do everything they can to isolate you until they are your center. And this can happen in the family unit, parents with children, romantically, even friendships. It's not just in a romantic relationship. Even in the workplace, there are narcissistic relationships that can be very toxic, that at some point you have to decide whether or not to stay there or leave. So.
Superbly helpful, my friend. Superbly helpful. Yeah, thank you so much, Crystal. So you painted a picture better than I could have painted myself, right? So so I'm glad you're here for sure. So welcome everyone. I see you. So Janice, narcissist relationships are totally fake, but now I can see it. It's like I can see it's not real. So at the time, people can see something else, right? It's all that I'm your real friend. I mean, and it becomes I'm your only friend. I'm the only one who cares about you. No one, and then it just becomes a spiral into doom. Welcome, Sharon Rose. It was great to have you here. And truth, they isolate you. I
Yeah,
see
Denise
you.
Dackrell made a really good comment about headaches, stomach aches. Your body knows to trust it. Thank you for that. It's very true. Your body will tell you, like I said, that butterfly feeling.
Mm,
Trust it. That's your body saying run away,
mm,
not don't engage. And there have been plenty of times where I've wished I'd listened to that, and didn't. And the times that I did, I never regretted it. So,
my friends, no, we're not talking about, I guess empaths who haven't. I say empaths don't have a problem, right? And many of us here are often victim to this. What we're talking about today, right? We really are. So if you're a kind person, which most of us are, how many times have people tried to exploit you? Take too much. I've seen it myself. You make a friend on here, for example. You say, yeah, okay, I want to be your friend, and then suddenly it's I need I need B, I need something. Then you say, okay, I'll help you with that, and then it's I need more. It's the last one I saw. Literally, people just like they grow two heads. Suddenly, they want. Oh, I'm going to be evicted. You have to pay my rent for my new property. I'm like, no. And I need to start a farm for my community. Suddenly, it's like I need to employ 10 people, and I need vehicles. It's like, no, I'm not going to help you. Don't look at me, right? This is a problem that I see every day. That's why I'm willing to talk about it. Sean, welcome. Glad you're here. So, Opeyemi, that's as far as I can go, right? The rest of it is Tobaleba, I'm sure you can pronounce it better than me. But welcome. Setting boundaries for sure. I agree with you. Charlotte, who Dwayne Garner, I met Charlotte in person. How you doing? Glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. So my superstar friend, Lisa, how you doing? So Linda, who Dwayne Canada, glad you're here. Miss Pepperoni. Yeah, no, that hasn't quite worked. Where's Miss Pepperoni? She's there. Saying hello to Kenny. I'm glad you're here. How you doing, Loni? Great to see you. Great to see you all, my friends. You never know who's going to turn up, right? You just never know. So Mr. Evidence. I love that name. Maybe a she, for all I know, right? I'm probably totally wrong. So I'm glad you're here. Shelley, great to have you here, of course. And my brother Zara, pure genius. So I was on a show last night. I was watching a show last night. So Christina, one of my co-hosts for our Monday events, Side Hustle to Business. So she's a business growth genius. So she's an e-commerce business expert. So she's going to help you set up your business, make your business run, help you make money and make good profits. Welcome, Christina. How you doing? Cheryl, so glad you're here as well. Again, Janice says I can spot them a mile away now. Yeah, I think we have to be able to spot them. I was saying before we started Global.Media that our world is full of almost circles, like prisons, right? Same way our world is full of these narcissists, people who are here to exploit us. It's if you look close enough, you find that they're literally everywhere. Where you have to be able to spot them a mile away to really be able to do something about them. Sorry, Chris. I forgot. I didn't see you off stage. Tobiloba, talk to me. Now, what's your take on the topic? Now, what's your take on people taking advantage of kind people?
That's I think it's not coincidence that we're having this conversation tonight, right? Because that was the same thing I was having with my youth in my church a couple of hours back, right? As this topic we were discussing about, like, what are we going to talk about coming a youth program? And the truth about this thing is that many people are ignorant that they are even hurting you. We need to come out from that, and then you need to understand that many people hurting you are even ignorant that you are being hurt. How do I mean? Do they see that they just wrong you, or the way they want to wrong you, or they don't just know? What I mean is this: You see, when people hurt you, when people take you for granted, the moment they do it for the first time and then you abhor it, you don't say anything, you do not say anything bad about it, you do not complain about it. The second time they do the same thing, it's your fault. The second time you allow them to hurt you, it's your fault, not their fault anymore. But the very first time, some people don't even know that they've done something very wrong, that they've done something terrible to you, and it is in your decision or it is in your disposition to let them know that this what you've done to me, I don't like it. I don't want it to continue. And the moment you see them want to make it continue, you have to stop. Then, just by isolating yourself. Should you hate them? No. Should you not talk to them? Should you wish them bad? No. But create boundaries. Let there be boundaries. Not everybody that will be your friend. It's I do say something in marketing that even if you are selling long life and prosperity, it is not everybody that will be your customer. Why are you trying to make everybody to be your friend? Why do you want to seek validation from every other person? Why do you think without them you cannot continue? So the moment you blame yourself first, you see that you are the one that allows it, then you are on the edge of stopping that particular thing to continue to happen to you. So, but by the moment you begin to see them that they are hurting you and you don't have anything to do about it, you continue to be hurt. They'll continue to put it in trouble. So the best thing you can be able to do for yourself is to first identify that you're part of the problem. You're part of the reason that this life or the whatever thing that is being done to you, you are part of the reason, right? So it's not always about the people taking you for granted. It's about you allowing them to take you for granted. It's not about fighting them. It's not about getting into fight with them. It's about creating that boundaries. It's about letting them know that I won't allow this to continue. Wow, I can see Stanley in the room. Okay, I'm coming back to that.
I feel blessed, I tell you. So Stanley joins you, I joined your event.
Wow, Stanley.
Thank
A
you for
long
being
time
here,
ago, right? So you wouldn't want to allow them to continue just by setting boundaries. I don't want it to just continue. I don't want you to continue to do this to me, not by even fighting, not by telling them, but by just creating that boundaries. If you talk to them every other week, you talk to them once in a month, you just check up on them. If you see that once in a month is already getting too much, you talk to them every Christmas. You say hi every Christmas just to check if they are alive, right? And you go your way. Nothing so difficult about that. So if you continue to allow them or stay in the game or stay in the business with them, they'll continue to take you for granted. They'll continue to be a problem, right? Before I yield the mic to you, I want to say hi to Stanley, right? This is live this stream. When we're getting started, this is one of the people that believed, that give us platform, that allow us to come to them. Thank you so much, Mr. Stanley, for all you've done in the past. I cannot just keep quiet seeing you tonight because it's been a while that we come on board, and it's all about power thinking. It's all about power thinking, and great to see you again. I yield the mic to you, Annie. I'm sure it's going to be a banger tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much. And there's a homage where is due as well to Stanley Green. I'm glad you're here. So, you make many important points up and over. See, there's always going to be people will take a deep breath, my friend, when it sounds like we're blaming the victim. But I think there is something that almost hardwires empaths to be more, like to want to give more. I think I think you touched upon it there, and then I guess I hope people heard you loud and clear. You see, the empath, like Crystal mentioned it too. The empath has a condition that makes them vulnerable to being exploited. That condition is wanting to be loved by others. Rather than relying on self-love, where they have a need for others to validate them, others to be able to give them who they think they are. I said that opens the door straight away to being exploited, right? I think that we need some sort of some. No, yeah, you keep saying boundary. I like the idea of boundary, but I think yeah, maybe it's honesty. This room is about being your authentic self, right? Being your true self, and I think it comes down to honesty, self-love, and doing what you know is right for you. So many people will, they will. It's in the comments. There's many. So I'm sure I'll come to many of those comments. But many people know that they see the red flags, like Crystal mentioned earlier. Yet they'll still hang around, and they won't see it as they gave the opportunity to be exploited. Like you said, Tobiloba, fool me once, that's your fault, right? Fool me twice, that's my fault. Clearly, because I let it happen, right? this is the dilemma we have. So the point I'm making is that not many people like to think the empath is the victim, by their own choosing. Are they? I wonder. Mr. Calm, talk to us. So I'll go to Mr. Calm, I'll go to Mike, and I go to Sir Stanley, then we'll go to Festus. Mr. Calm, talk to us. Like, what's your take? How can the empaths?
Well, hello. I applaud Tobolovan's assertion, and also I applaud who was on earlier. Was it Christiana?
No, it was Crystal.
Crystal?
Crystal
Yeah, I
Bahia,
applaud
yeah.
Crystal's assertions as well, and also yourself, Annie. Um, the fact is, well, let's just say I'm thinking that the victim or the empath, I think this is what we're focusing on. We're focusing on the empath here and their ability to recognize narcissists. Yes, as you indicated, they are targeted by narcissists, and it's like a all-you-can-eat buffet. An empath is an all-you-can-eat buffet by a narcissist. It's very attractive, very, how should I put it, enticing. And they cannot help themselves, but actually go down that path where they start, first they're very friendly, but then, narcissistic behavior begins to show. Empaths attract these people, and from what I've listened to quite a few of these arguments, they have a tendency of, yes, not recognizing that this is a narcissistic behavior. It's like they haven't ran into it before. It's like this is their first time. For some, it's probably a second time, and they just don't know how to deal with it yet. And that's because they probably haven't been shown how, or they haven't they don't have enough love for themselves in order to do so. And I think that's the crux of it all, is that they have not welled up enough love for themselves by themselves. And right there, the embodiment to be able to do that allows you to recognize that you are worthy, that you have self-worth for yourself. It's kind of like it becomes inborn. It's you develop it. It grows within you. It wells up. And then, it's like as if you start seeing things, you start seeing narcissistic behavior with a different color. It starts showing up and painting itself in a different way. And you begin to realize, this is not good for me. That's not good for me. How did I let this happen? How come I never saw this before? Well, the reason is you did not love yourself enough. You did not embody what Annie keeps on talking about is pure love for yourself first. You thought that loving yourself was not necessary, that other people should love you so that you feel like as if you're loved. No. Other people should not love you so that you feel that you feel, so that you can feel love. You should love yourself. Give yourself love. Gift yourself love. You deserve it. It's yours. The world cannot live without you loving yourself. There's no positivity if you do not love yourself.
Yeah, I'm cooing. I think that is probably that's the only thing we'll take away from here today. That the world cannot do without you loving yourself. I couldn't agree more. I really that's.
I'm with you there, Annie, and I'm also with you there when you talk about the world as a prison. I've been thinking about that too. I think you're right. You're going down you're in my head. What the hell are you doing in my head, Annie?
Like-minded people think the same, Michael. Like-minded people think alike, right?
I wouldn't go that far, Annie. I would not go that far. But I certainly approve of your insinuation right there. And thank you very much for enlightening me and enlightening us, and bringing this topic to the floor. I'd like to hear more from other guests.
Yeah, we certainly will. Just say there's a lot of people, so thank you so much, all of you, for joining this stage, the studio. If you do fall off, please do come back. Crystal's done that. Stanley's done that too. I'll do my turn. Let's try and keep our shares snappy. Let's keep them short and sharp. That way, we're not all waiting too long, right? Mike, I think you're next, my friend. Talk to us.
First of all, thank you all that spoke previously. I agree, particularly with Calm. I think, Michael, I think the thing that I'm trying to sort out is it's not just narcissists. Okay, Calm. It's not just narcissists that we're in danger of. I think it's because we're called to be of service, to love other people, to feel, what they are feeling. I think we can be at risk by more than just narcissists. But I think the response or answer to that is really where empathy meets wisdom, discernment, and using the empathy to feel out false emotions. And I think sometimes that may have to be through pattern, watching the person, maybe not jumping in immediately, but watching their actions, watching if they're manipulating. Because I think that the manipulation aspect is probably the most both damaging, but also the most telling. That's my share.
Really quick, in the comments, the last comment is a really good question from Curtis. And since you were talking about it, Mike, maybe you could answer it. Yes. How does a person learn to love themselves?
You can see
Well,
what
that
I
was the
can't
other
see.
thing. I was
So
going to
you,
quote, "Love your neighbor as yourself," right? And I think the part of the loving yourself is also knowing that you're loved. So you have to give and receive love. Um, and for me, that's believing in a transcendent source that loves me. But you know, at some point, self love has to come from within. It can't, or at least it can't come just externally. I mean, I think empaths and probably all of us are concerned with what people think, and as we should. If we're trying to love other people, we have to know that they're receiving that. But at the same time, if we understand or we're secure in ourselves, then our empathy, at some point we have to draw that boundary and say our empathy is what it is. How they receive it is up to them. It's their agency.
that what you said, I can understand, Mike. I think, look, the cold
I'd
hard
like to
truth.
add to what Mike is to what Mike just said.
Go.
To know love, or to accept love, or to recognize it. To recognize love, you need to know love. So you need to have known love before you can actually even recognize that it is love. Just to embed what Mike just said, you need to know love. So understand and know love in order to recognize love from other people and what it means. Go ahead, Annie. Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. Never have to be sorry, my friend. Always added value to our conversations. So the thing I take away from what Mike shared is the word manipulation. Again, it's easy to think this doesn't happen to us. Doesn't happen to me. I don't know any narcissists. I will not let them in my space. But we do every day. It's not that. I'm not talking about my topic. The narcissists I refer to, but I also made the point: people who take advantage. They're our friends. Look, I'm getting. I see them in my circle, right? I see them every day, and one day, today, it's, oh yes, of course, we're best friends. We essentially, we love each other. Yeah, well, I'm any. I can love everyone because it makes my business tick, right? But deep down, then suddenly you see them flip. The love suddenly becomes any I need, and you're like, hmm? And then it becomes unending need, more and more. They suck your time, they suck your energy, they suck your emotion. And of course, look, the simple answer is to know when to say no. No, no. I can't give you any more than I already have. Because I have no more to give, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But then they're going to turn nasty. They're going to start making comments about you here, there, and everywhere. Again, these are people that you and I know. Let's go to Stanley. I think that's the order, right? So Stanley, please do share with us your take on this topic.
Unmute. Well, thank you, Andy. Thank you for the invitation. As you know, I typically, I hope I'm not frozen. Typically in rooms and observing and not speaking very much. Hope you can hear me okay. Just let me know.
It's doable. It's doable. There's some distortion, so I can't see anyone's microphone apart from yours. So maybe mine. So let me turn mine.
Let me do this. I'm going to go to another speaker. How's this? Testing 1, 2.
Please carry on. We can hear you well enough.
So I'll be brief. I mean, with what I do, of course, with power thinking, we help people to bounce back from life's adversities faster, and we have these inner strengths that resilient people have. This is all evidence-based. Comes out of the University of Pennsylvania's Positive Psychology Center. And the third inner strength, the first is emotion regulation, the second is impulse control, the third is empathy. And Well, I took an assessment for the folks who have the app like you do, Penny. There's an assessment, a 56 question assessment you can take, which measures where you are on each of these. And I was above average in all of the strengths of resilience, with the exception of empathy. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I need to do better with empathy. And but at the same time, if you're an empath, you're going overboard and you're at risk of being a victim. And in the big scheme of things, I'm not that concerned about being victimized or someone attempting to victimize me. We're in the United States, so we have one of the biggest narcissists and also a fellow graduate, a fellow alum of the University of Pennsylvania. And we see this narcissism at work, but it shouldn't hamper our desire to always be empathetic and to help people. And like you said, I mean, that old saying, fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me. And so I usually move in that direction. If I'm going to do the best I can to be there for people, and if I get burned, then I'll know to leave that one alone and just keep moving on. So that's my contribution.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. See, I was with a friend of mine a couple of days ago in America. I think it was yesterday, talking to Christina. And I think he said he pretty much goes through his connections every 6 months at least. So probably more frequently than that, to clear out connections that don't serve him anymore. I'm saying, this is the thing. I think we have to be willing to look within our circle and work out who do we need to move away from. Again, so part of the empath's condition is the thing about staying loyal. So I'm very loyal right now, but like I say, if I smell rat, I'm off. I'm not going to be hating to Dr. Blow said. I'm just going to turn my back away and keep walking. That's just how my life goes, right? I'm saying, even empaths needs everyone needs to understand that when you are in danger, don't stay there. Don't stay there. Don't keep suffering. It does you no good. Does no one any good at all. We have to be able to be self-aware enough and to smell the coffee enough. And again, it's said many times in the comments. I'll come to those in good time. Once our gut tells us, as Crystal said, something's amiss here, something's wrong, run and keep running. That's my take anyway, right? Christina, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
You're everywhere, my friend. You're everywhere. I see. I look left. I look right. Christina is a star guest. Yay!
Thank you.
We celebrate it. Please share with us. What's your take on this topic?
Well, interesting conversation. It's all about. I do a lot of work on, confidence. I keep preaching that to start anything, you have to define your worth, right? And we actually, last time we did an event together, we were talking about this, and we were talking about, confidence and limiting beliefs. If you think about it, on both sides of the spectrum, empath and narcissist, it's all a scar. It's all something that is lacking and a void that somebody's trying to fill. Like the narcissist, of course, is the worst side of it, because now there is manipulation and there is abuse that is going on. But something is lacking, is this need for, adoration that they're seeking, and because they're, they're not well, they end up, damaging and taking advantage of other people. And the empath knows it well. The empath feels sorry that there is something lacking there, but in reality, something is lacking on that side too. this sense of insecurity, this not believing enough on themselves, this eternal willingness to sacrifice, right? So the first work that anybody has to do is to really look within and understand what is it that I need to fortify, what is it that it's lacking, or what is that is not making me feel good on a daily basis about my day, my movements, my journey, and really try to address this, really doing a lot of internal work before looking externally and chasing going after the never-ending chase, trying to fix somebody else. If you're working so hard on fixing somebody else, maybe there is something that you have to look within really and stop yourself from doing that. You say run the other way. I say just stop, look within and trying to do that work that is gonna move you forward and is gonna fortify you in a way that you don't fall for it again.
Yeah, I like that. That's I guess stand still, breathe, and work it out. Work out what's really going on. Might be a better idea than running. I like the idea of running. Flight or fight. Fight or flight, right? So thank you so much, Christina. I think we can. It's a choice we make. We have to make a choice, right? In life, we must make a choice. Do we sit there and be traumatized by someone, or do we choose something else? And I love your point about what are we seeking? That's a real question. So as an empath, what are we what are we looking? What's missing in our lives? What are we looking for in others for their validation and I guess their love really, which is not really love. It's just it's weird. It's go on, Crystal.
Sorry, I just wanted to comment on Cheryl's comment about the whole trauma bonds are real. Absolutely, and as an empath, we actually feel them a lot worse and more strongly, which is why I had started doing an actual series on trauma bonds, which I will be continuing now that I'm only working one job. Yay me, finally. And with it being Domestic Abuse Awareness Month, I will be doing that series all this month to actually talk about this and everything else. This was actually kind of a great opening for Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. By the way, I don't even know if you realize that, but this is a great conversation to start that.
I did not. So we just did it. We'll do it. Let's Beat Toxic Relationships room. Dr. Yvonne and I. So we haven't even mentioned that. So I'll make sure we mention that next time. And let's see how we can incorporate DV month into our conversation, right? Thanks for teaching me something else today, right? Yeah, it's
big hugs.
Let us know when your events are, Crystal.
Absolutely. Now that I'm only working one job, I will be able to actually start having a schedule and everything. So I will absolutely start doing that. I'm going to actually be back on LinkedIn and YouTube doing what my passion is. I actually took the step back and, did the whole self-care for me, surprisingly. So.
Good on you, my friend. Good on you. Good on you. Again, this is such a huge topic because my understanding is that out of every 10 people, maybe up to 3 are stuck in a rut that involves narcissism. And we can't put up with those sort of numbers, right? On social media, if you haven't experienced it, I'll be amazed. If you're a kind person, everyone suddenly migrates to you, and then they say, when you say I'm not giving anymore, say in the end, I had to say, look, I can't keep giving money to people. No. One, I don't believe your project. 2, I just can't keep giving money. And then you be able to say, and suddenly people turn on you. who my kind friends? Paulette. She gets so much abuse from people, but because that no, part of it is because she is the one who we give. Additionally, if I've seen people say to her, Paulette, I'm homeless, and Paulette will start paying for a hotel room for the person, their kids. I've seen her buy food for people. I've seen her. I'm like, why are you doing that? Stop doing that. It drives me crazy. I'd say the reason I say all this is because the people that she's helping, there's never one who comes and says, oh, thanks, Paulette, that's enough. I've got all I need. All that ever happens is they want more. They want more. I need more. I need more to feed my pet. I need more to buy a car. I'm like, walk away, Paulette. Walk away. Walk away. You've done enough. Leave them be. And then say, much like the empaths, and I ask myself, without us, what would they do? Would they survive? They would. I assure you. We're not the savior. We're not Jesus that's here to feed 5,000 with
But
fish and
they
water.
make it out like they won't survive without your help.
Yes,
And that's how they
yes,
get to us.
I agree.
Trust me, I have
Me
gotten
too.
so upset with people who hurt Paulette because you know how much I love her. And Matt gets mad at me for giving and giving and giving until I'm used up and exhausted. And you give a lot. I know so many people on this platform that just give of their time, of their love, of their energy, their coaching, everything. And people just take, and don't give back. And it's so frustrating to
Yes,
watch. But it's like when I watch and I see it happen to, say, you or Paulette, and I get righteous anger for you guys, but yet I don't see it happening to myself. And I don't get, we all just keep giving until we finally recognize it. And then when we finally recognize it, we feel guilty for putting that boundary because that's what we've been trained to do.
yeah.
As a
I'm
people
saying that.
pleaser, as a healer, as the heart-led people that we are made to feel guilty, and especially narcissists, they feed on that. They know that, so they use it as a weapon. Sorry, I got to get back to work. I just wanted to drop that little bomb.
Thank you so much.
Annie, when you may mention like we are not the Messiah, we cannot always be the help that everybody is looking for. The truth is that the moment you try to be everywhere, try to be everybody's helper, you will be in big trouble. A kind of trouble that you will not be able to, to overcome and find solutions. So here's the thing: our life is as beautiful as the people who are around us. You have toxic people around you. When you allow them to make you take up the responsibility that does not belong to you, you're going to be in a big trouble. And the better you realize that, just like you've said, that we are not Messiah, you can help everybody the best for you, right? The best for you. And some people, you just have to let them go. Let them go. And the truth of the matter is this, we are talking in the regard of people who are not doing good to us. But what if you're actually the problem too? That you are putting kind of energy that's making to attract that kind of people to yourself. Because when we are talking like this, I think we need to learn how to balance things. Whereby, what if you're also part of the problem? What if that's who you are as well? So we need to understand that they just be like, I put people who are not doing the right thing, who don't see me right, who are taking me for granted. I put them away. I block them. I don't talk to them anymore. Are you not part of them? Are you really, really not part of them? Are you not their victim too? Instead of trying to be the victim, are they not in your victim as well? Are they not in your problem? Are you not making them to go through issues. Because one thing I understand about people is this: you have your own way of treating people. You don't treat people. You and I know that you don't treat people equally. The way you are going to treat your spouse is not the way you treat people here on LinkedIn. It's not the way you treat people who seems to be your client, who used to be your customer. You don't treat them that way. Yet you want them to behave like your spouse. You want them to, excuse me. You want them to do everything for you, like your spouse will do, like your daughter or your son is going to do to you. Yet you are not giving them the same energy. So if I will be right this evening, I will tell you that the energy you're giving to them is what they are replicating, is what they are giving back to you. So you need to understand that while we are trying to talk about all of this, we need to balance it and try to understand that it is not always the people's problem. Part of it is your problem too. You don't treat them the way you treat people who seems to be treating you right, who seems to be doing the right thing for you. You don't talk to them the way you talk to your child. You don't talk to them the way you probably talk to people who is living in your neighborhood. So if you see people as, just love them as we are meant to love. You don't wish them bad. You don't see bad thing about them. And don't always be quick to see the bad side. Don't always be quick to see the bad side. Everybody have a good side. And it's very, very okay for you, for your mental health, for your sake, for the sake of your business, that you see the good side also before saying that this is the bad time or this is the bad person and everything like that. So make sure you are not adding to their problem and seeing them as the bad people.
You see, I think one of the ways we add to the problem is by creating dependency. As you're talking to below, I'm thinking, look, I guess I try and adopt this solution or the strategy of offering solutions that go along give the man a fish and bread, he'll eat for an hour, he'll come back tomorrow and say he's hungry. Whereas give the man a fishing rod, teach him how to fish, how to make bread. He can feed himself for the rest of his life, right? But you all have heard me mention people who want to start a farm, but they want 5 staff and 5 vehicles and land. I'm like, look, you're gonna have to work to do all those things. Starting you off small, maybe I can help towards. Maybe I didn't say I was going to. I said maybe, right? Show me a plan for you to start small and build up and learn through the struggles, learn through the challenge, learn from the steps. Me just buying me putting money into buying you vehicles when I haven't got vehicles for my company as it is. Me paying for you to have staff when I haven't got staff myself. I'm saying that's just dumb, right? We have to, whoever we are, we have to learn to be realistic in how we help people and help them in a way that makes them rise, not in a way that makes them depend on us. Christine, I can see you thinking. I don't like seeing you thinking. When I see you thinking, I have to.
What I'm thinking is, of course, we are on LinkedIn, so naturally this is turning into a business conversation, and the safeguards that you have to put in place, right? And I hear fairly often, this person is selfish. This person just wants to be paid, otherwise they won't help, etc., etc. But I personally had to put some safeguard in place, and I'm somebody that is normally super generous and very giving. I do these coffee chats, right? And coffee chats are great. When I do a coffee chat, I never suddenly think, oh, this is gonna turn into a client, right? But I had to put some safeguarding in place in terms of clarifying before the beginning of it. Is this gonna be, let's get to know each other, right? or is are you wanting to have a call with me because you're really interested in doing business together? Finds the boundary and clarifies the thing for people that are having this conversation. Are you gonna try to get information from me because you say that you want to get to know me, or do you really want to get to know me, right? Because when you get to know somebody on a coffee chat, great things can happen too, and amazing collaboration can happen, right? But if you're wanting to go on a different kind of call with me, I still do a complimentary, but I call it the discovery call, and that's really focused, right, on the topic of what you need and getting started, setting on doing some business together. So that's the difference. So in the LinkedIn world, is you have to experience it to be able to get to the point where you don't feel bad about putting these safeguard in places, and also understand that everybody on LinkedIn is on different paths, right? At one point you might have been walking that path, and so you have to meet people where they are. Maybe they're in a phase where they don't really understand how everything works, and they're just trying to figure it out. So empath, narcissist, selfish, it's just really how you see and how you define these words and the meaning you give to them, I think.
It's
So
true.
well said. So well said. Oh my God. I agree. I mean, that's how Annie and I collaborated. Have had so many beautiful collaborations. It started with a coffee chat, but putting out there, what are you looking for? And when it comes to the coaching thing, yes, I coach sometimes for free, but I have found that if people have a financial investment in it, they're more willing to do the work at the same time. And we need to know, as coaches, we need to know our own worth.
You see,
And
and
not,
then they call you selfish, Crystal. They
I
call you
know,
selfish for something.
yes,
Somebody
but
say,
you've yelled at both me
"Fine."
and Paulette for not knowing our worth many times. Because we do want to give, we want to help. We see people that are hurting and we want to help. Christina, I'm not sure if we are connected, but I would love to have a coffee chat with you to collaborate. You and I do seem to be very much on the same wavelength. So if we are not connected, I would really like to connect with you.
For
Great.
sure. Look, I don't think it's selfish. I don't think it's if you're there for business, that's what you're there for. I mean, I don't think it means that we can't be unkind. I think it goes back to Belobo's point. We can cause problems inadvertently. Say that I'm walking down the road, Crystal, of the fact that even when we do people a favor, like you said just now, Crystal, if someone doesn't have skin in the game, they haven't paid anything, the chance of them taking our solution, our advice seriously is very little. We know that in business. Christina, I'm sure knows that too, right? People who pay tend to focus. They tend to be more determined to implement. Whereas me publishing someone's book for peanuts is part of the problem, because they will never rise above where they are in terms of wanting to pay someone for a professional job. So is that my fault? Yes, it is. But it doesn't stop me. I still have to be kind, Crystal. I agree with you on that one. So let's not let these people, whatever you call them, manipulators, exploiters, narcissists, whatever you want to call them, right? Let's not let them spoil our day and our experience of life, right?
And
Yeah.
And you see, this thing that we are talking about tonight now, it is now become like a business conversation that if we sit round table, we will see where some of growth leak that we have. Right? There's a particular woman who I just spoke to. I just test to. I've always, When my ebook came out on client flow system, I gave it to her for free. I gave her my time for free. I do this for, every other thing for free. And guess what? She always come back with the same thing I'm sharing. I charge other people. They see results. They get solution to their this thing, right? Because she's not paying a dime for it, she does not see that it's what like is something that can solve our problem. Now, the moment, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to charge you if we are going to have any other conversation. I'm not going to continue like this. I can actually afford to do it all for free, but the point is that the mind, you see, especially our mind has been programmed in such a way that when we are giving something for free, there is no solution in it. We've been programmed
There's
in
no
that way.
feeling
I,
at all.
I've been a coach for about 3 years now, being a copywriter, teaching people on how to do copyright and things like that. And I saw somebody who tagged me on Facebook a couple of days back, and it was just like, when he met me in 2023, he was thinking like, because what I charged was not too much, he's not going to get results. And what he now began to lament that now the coaching program he went for a higher amount of money, they eventually, rip him off. They did not do the right thing for him. He didn't get the best out of it. Do you understand? And then I tend to ask that, where is this mindset coming from? Whereby people give you their time, their energy, their resources, their research, right? Give it to you on a platter of gold. And what do you do with it? You see that it doesn't worth it. You see that something like, okay, if I had paid for it, it would have been better. And let's bring this scenario. If you are going to, let's imagine you're going to Walmart to get a loaf of bread, and you're on your way, you see a loaf of bread on the road. I am sure you and I will not pick that bread. It could even be better than the one we are going to get in the Walmart. Right? But we're not going to pick the one on the roadside. Because why? There is no value being placed on it. So I am saying to us tonight, right? Don't do anything for absolutely free. Be kind. Be kind. Be good to people, right? Treat them nicely. Study them. Know their mind. Instead of doing it absolutely free, you can cut it down very, you can really cut it down and let them understand that, okay, this is what I will usually charge, but pay this amount of money. Not because you're wicked, but because you want the energy you are giving to them to match their own energy. The energy of people is that when they don't pay, they don't value what they don't pay. That's one thing I've understood. But it takes somebody like us or somebody like him, don't let me say us, that if I get something for free, which is of value, I take it so serious than the one, even more than the one that, I use money to get, because I believe every good thing of life, they come for free, like water, the air we breathe, the oxygen, the sun, they all come for free, and they are more important than all of these things that we are talking about. So once the moment I understood this thing, I begin to cherish people's time, cherish the value they give to me, even if they don't charge me. Right. So if we can come with this mindset, I think we'll be on a stage, on a ride to changing our society, to changing our business, to making things better for ourselves and the society we find ourselves. I'm going to yield the mic to you.
For sure, for sure. I think we're part of our own problem half the time. That I agree with for sure. Right. Let's talk to Alavine, and then we can go to Dr. Festus, as I call him. Alavine, are you there?
Yes, I am there. Hello, everyone. Hello
I'm, I'm,
again,
I'm, I'm I'm
Mr.
glad. I'm glad you can't sleep. I'm glad you can't sleep. So talk to us.
Yes, I am happy to be around. It is a quite interesting topic we have here, and I think everyone already said everything we have to say, I think, but if I have to say my take about it, it would be that one. I think when an empath doesn't know he or she is an empath, this person could be very overwhelmed by every emotions, every feelings she or he receives or feels around her or him. And if when this person become aware of his abilities and learn how to handle everything, it will become a superpower. I think we need to be aware on how to handle our this gift, because I think it is a gift and at the same time it is a challenge. It is a challenge because you can know what's going on even if nobody tells you anything, and it is a gift. So it is a challenge because you don't know how to handle, how to manage everything, how to to separate everything, your emotions and their emotions, I mean the emotions of others. And that's my take. So thank you very much for inviting me here. Thank you everyone for your takes and for your sharing. It is very interesting. Bye
Thank
bye.
you for your patience as well. Thank you. It is self awareness. It helps, right? Yeah. So empaths have a unique quality. But I think I agree with you. We all have that. It's a spectrum. Everything's a spectrum, right? We have those same qualities, maybe not to the same degrees as empaths do. In other words, many of us here quite have to say, yes, I'm empathetic, so I can empathize with people, but I'm not going to sell my wife to help someone who needs because they say they need. That's a difference. So empaths will literally struggle with themselves and torture themselves that they haven't given more. No, 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 no. I love Zara's quote. I said, I love Zara's comment. So I tried to know myself once, but my ego kept interrupting with a TED talk. You have to picture what Zara saying, right? My gut feeling said, don't eat street samosas. My heart said, it's yummy. But the stomach said, see you in 20 minutes. You know which room in the house that is, right? I haven't eaten street samosas. Yeah, you can guess. We need to truly know our gut feeling matters. It's what I think is what Zara saying. We have to learn to listen to what our gut feeling is. If it doesn't feel right, go the other way. Turn down for what? Everyone turn down for what? I don't know what the question is, Shelley. Have I missed something? No, if anyone gets to let me know. So Sharon Rose says, it's not a psychological unsafety that this exploiters cause. It's a full body icky feeling. That's what it is, right? If you again, how many friends do you have that you look that give you that icky feeling? Something's not right. This is the ones we're talking about today. It's not three-headed monsters who are here to molest us and to take everything from us. It's literally the people who look ordinary every day. And some of them some of them are great at what they do, by the way. They're just suckers and just suck more of us. They want more of what we have, our gifts, as Alavin just talked about, right? Let's go to Festus, then we can go to Sean. Festus, talk to me. What's your take on our topic, my friend?
Okay. Wow, what a great moment to be here. Okay, let's talk. Let me just put this right in, right? Um, I might hurt somebody while saying this, but I just feel it is the truth. The truth is, empaths don't always define the world as it is. They define it as they feel and wish it to be. And that to me is a big flaw. You try to see people as you see yourself, and that is why you don't even notice whether they have different characteristics with you or they don't. And then you go right in doing everything that you would do to yourself for them, knowing fully that these people they are not the same as you. So I'm saying that people who always think they are always burned in a narcissistic relationship or things like that are often people that neglected themselves, or they read other people the way they would read themselves, and they don't read other people like that. And by definition, we all know that empath is understanding another person, the other person's emotion. So if you say you are really empath and then you don't understand the other person's emotion, I think something is wrong. And maybe we have to face that fact for a little while, because you can't say you understand the other person's emotion and then get burned by that same person. So it all happens this way. We often see people the way we would see ourselves, and we neglect them for who they really are. And the truth for the matter is, narcissist, we talked about it sometimes as if it's a person. It's not. Narcissist is a characteristics that is a script to me, based on my own body of work over the years. It's a script that someone picked up along the way. It's not the person. That same guy that or same girl that you think is a narcissist, when the person meets a certain reality or meet with certain reality or situations that change their perception a little bit, they become sweethearts. So a lot of times we give these names, forgetting that the people we give the names to sometimes are unintentional about what they do, and they also call us the same name. We've all seen this in relationship. This one is saying you are the bad guy. This one like you're the bad girl. This one's like you did this. This one like you did that. And we are all pointing fingers. And sometimes we forget the whole problem and we'll be like, your character is bad, and that is why we couldn't solve this. And this one will be like, your character is bad, and that's why we're getting nowhere. I'm saying that for us to be able to stop attracting narcissists into our own cycle, we have to understand that, first of all, our duty to the world is not to give, is to understand. If you understand the world as it is, then you will know where you belong. If you see someone who is going through things and you want to help, remember this. The person is not going through issues because they are victim of life. Sometimes they are paying the price for a decision they took, that they have to go through that process to become a better version of themselves. This is my philosophy of life. If you see someone going through hard times, it only means two things. They are either paying a price for a mistake they made, or they're paying a price for an opportunity they will benefit in the future. If you understand this reality, how you help people will be different. Sometimes we go all in. When someone is paying a price for a mistake they made, and that price is not destroying them, it's refining them. Sometimes we'll be like, I'm stopping people from that person is suffering. Let me just go in. Let me just say this a little bit. Sometimes we are stopping people from paying the price of something they did wrong, and because we do that consistently, something has to take us out of the way. Maybe you have a lot of money and you keep spending it on someone who is supposed to pay a price for certain ignorance or certain bad character, and you continue to do that, you will go bankrupt. And you will go bankrupt because you have to give away for that person to really pay that price and learn the lesson that they need to learn. I'm not being a bad guy here. I'm not trying to really be like helping is bad or all those things. All I'm trying to say here is, in order to really practice empathy or be that person that is kind and loving, you have to understand that the world is in a certain form, and you first need to understand it before you bring in your own version of whatever you believe in. And I will end by answering one of the questions that someone raised, that how does a person learn to love themselves? This is my own philosophy of that question. To learn, the most practical way to learn how to love yourself is to learn to love who loves you. Because if you love yourself, then you will be able to notice the people that care a lot about you. Sometimes we end up saying, but I feel nothing for them. What do you mean? Do you love yourself? If you love yourself, then you must love the person that loves you. That is the only way you can prove to the world that you really care about yourself. We've all seen people who are going out of their way to do things for us. And sometimes we say, my feelings is not, I just don't feel it. I can't just give. I don't know. That you're not loving yourself, because it's not theory. Loving yourself is practical. and you don't give yourself love, you can compliment yourself from now to tomorrow. You won't feel that same level of emotion like you will feel if NA says you are good. I know how many times I've said things to myself that are nice, but when someone comes around and say, Festus, you're good, I'll be like, wow, are you really serious right now? Because that it's a different rhythm when it comes from someone else. So even if you stand in front of a mirror and do all the affirmations, it will not sing as much as someone else is doing it for you. Sometimes we're so busy chasing the people we love that we don't give the ones that love us the opportunity to prove themselves. And we end up saying the world is wicked. We end up saying we are confronted, we have so many narcissists. No, 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 no. There's somebody in your circle that has always been there, but you haven't given that opportunity. You haven't given them the opportunity to fully express themselves. Sometimes we'll be like, they're into me, they're doing this, they're doing that. We all have all those complaints. But I say this, if you truly want to learn how to love yourself, you must first of all learn how to love the people that love you. Sometimes those people are not as good looking as you may want them to be, but for the fact that you love yourself, you have to love them back because they're doing everything within their power to protect you and to make you a better version of yourself. So empaths are people who read the world as they wish it is, not as it is. They read the world from their own feelings, but not the way the world is. And that is why we always get burnt. Good people don't know how to protect themselves. I don't mean to hurt no one, but this is one philosophy that I have lived with. Let me end with this. One of the ways I have lived my life is to ensure that I don't become a victim of life. So I decide to take full responsibility of almost everything I do. To give you a glimpse of this statement I'm making, I am that guy that says, instead of me saying, Mr. A is going to take care of my bills, and I don't know how Mr. A is living his life, I have to be the one to say, let me take 90% of my bill, and if Mr. A comes, fine. If he doesn't, it's fine. Why am I saying this? Because right now at this, let me say, what's the time now? Sorry, right here, it's this is 11:22 p.m. Right now, I'm in my room, but the guy that I may put my trust on may be somewhere drinking and partying. I don't know what will happen to him out there. I might pray for him, but if he is not taking responsibility of his own life, he will still put my own life in jeopardy. So sometimes we have to understand that it is not about who you think is being there for you. How much is that person being there for themselves? That is all I'm saying here. If you love yourself, learn to love the people that love you. Secondly, if you are really someone that is kind and loving, then you must understand that the world is not how you see it to be, how you want it to be. It is exactly how it has been, and you have to learn to catch up with it. That is my own take for tonight. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
That's deep, right? That is deep.
Whoa,
There's a lot
Festus,
Just
there.
the
brother.
round of applause. Like,
Love that. That's it. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you next, Sean. It's about being self-aware, being honest with ourselves, and as Denise says, part of the empath problem is denial, right? It's hard to comprehend why someone would try to exploit us. But the way you explain it, my friend, we leave the door open, and when that happens, people will barge through the door, right? So I love Sharon Rose's comment as well. The exocet narcissist. I like that. So she said all that without swearing, right? No swear word in sight. They're dangerous because they're hardwired. They're harder to spot until you're in it. And I said that's part of the problem, right? Now, Festus. Now, half the problem is that we mean well, and I say again, I don't think we ought to lose our humanity, our kindness, our compassion. Now, this is why I'm saying it's not necessarily the empathetic person's fault, right? Now, being kind is not a crime. Being kind is not a bad thing. It's who we are as humans. But we have to be willing. We have to be able to spot when someone is exploiting us, when something is not right, when this relationship is not what it ought to be. When I'm giving too much and the other person is giving nothing. we have to, we have to truly, once we see it, we must take action. I would not say stay there. We can't stay there. We need to move, whatever that means. Sean, I'll let you speak, my friend. Thanks for joining us. And then I'll go to my videos. I got a couple of videos, sponsors videos, and then the video about our topic.
Really, really quickly. So my YouTube community would really like it if you guys could send me like emails, because a few of them would really like to connect but don't have LinkedIn. So any of you those that are on the panel, if you are willing to send me an email address so that Misha can connect with you, I would really appreciate it. Annie, you're doing what I wanted. You're connecting my YouTube community with the LinkedIn community. Thank you for doing this.
I can see them. I can see them now. You always have amazing YouTube friends. So my friends, do make sure you like the video today and make sure you comment. And then, of course, subscribe to our channels if you haven't already. I'm sure many of you have. But I would love to be engaged. Crystal, I'll send you a DM with my email. And then, so, if you want to put me on the email list, then by all means, if you can reciprocate or subscribe to my YouTube channel, even better, right? So we'll do that. Let's go to Sean. Sean, talk to me. What's your take on this dilemma we have, my friend?
Well, and first of all, Crystal, I'll send you a message. I have a single link that has everything: Facebook, YouTube, podcast.
Is that Linktree? Is that Linktree?
It's not Linktree, but it's similar.
Okay, cool.
And it's actually like, we could call it a vanity domain. But I shared a lot in the comments. We tend to use terms. I don't remember who said, but somebody was talking about being very specific about our terms. We throw terms around like narcissist, empath. But are those people really truly narcissist, or do they just have narcissistic tendencies? One of the things I shared, Annie, was that narcissism has a healthy flavor as well. In fact, part of self-love is saying, like, I matter. But then I can look at another and say, and so do you. I matter enough. I'm important enough. I'm not going to shrink and hide and walk on eggshells and all of that jazz. But let me talk about the real reason why so many brilliant, capable people stay stuck in these patterns, right? They know, like in their mind, you don't have to tell them they're unhealthy. They know. My sister-in-law was in a long-term relationship like this. Crystal and I have had some very raw and real conversations, and others. It's not lack of information. It's not laziness. It's not even fear, as was stated before. It's just conditioning. If you've ever been in any kind of relationship where someone was exhibiting narcissistic tendencies, we know this firsthand, right? They've taught us that boundaries are selfish. Love is conditional. Self-sacrifice is noble. That your worth equals how much you give. And I say, bull crap. Someone who has the empathetic, I get these words mixed up, empathetic, empathic, but someone who's it hits harder, it hits deeper, because as was shared, those are the people who feel deeply. I'm raising a 7-year-old. He has natural tendencies. I was moving a fridge one day and it fell on me and he fell apart. He started crying like, oh my gosh, my daddy's under this refrigerator. I was fine, but he didn't know that. And so I'm really learning, and I myself am a highly sensitive person. And the problem is the empathic person has been conditioned to confuse compassion and responsibility. They're used to overextending, over-explaining, and overstaying, where they internally, they're like, I should get out of here, but they stay. And we talked about trauma bonds. It's because not just their mind, not even their heart, it's their nervous system has actually been rewired to see that the cost of getting love is to try and save and help others or heal others. But let me share an uncomfortable truth. A boundary without a consequence, as I said, is more like a preference. Empathy without discernment, that's self-abandonment. And love that has no self-respect, it just erodes you bit by bit. It's not that you're broken. It's we were programmed, right? The world that teaches us, our parents, our things. One thing I learned from some of my training is one thing that I tell myself, two things. Everyone is doing the absolute best they can with their current resources. I had to go through this. My father was physically, mentally abusive. I don't know who did it, but there was something more. I just know that there's a gap in my memory and I don't know what happened, but I was processed through it. Today, I live by the cause. Everything in my life was because of some decision I made. So I asked myself this question: how am I at cause for what happened to me? Now, real quickly, I'm not talking about victim shaming. This crap is messed up, right? There are evil people in this world that take advantage of other people, and that sucks. The problem is those people, myself included, were taught to tolerate too much, to explain instead of just getting out or walking away, stepping out of the situation and hoping that we can love them. If we just love them hard enough, they'll change. If we just work on them, they'll change. I love this version of the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to change the people I can, the courage to change the one, or sorry, God grant me
God grant me the serenity to
but mine's different,
change
Crystal. This
that I
isn't the same.
can't. Okay, sorry.
God grant me the serenity to change or to accept the people I cannot change, the courage to change the people I can change, and the wisdom to know the only person I can change is looking at me in the mirror. Right? And
I like your version better.
Going to the free calls. Tobaloba was sharing about free calls. And a lot of coaching people, especially some of the people on the panel who are coaching very sensitive topics, they're doing it out of this love and care for others. And so they go, oh, they're broke. I can't charge them. I have to give them free help because they're homeless. They're living in a shelter. But it's about a reframe, right? And I like the way Mike said it. Mike said his dream was to work with clients that can pay for services so that he has the time and money freedom to serve those who cannot. But on my calls, I don't give free calls. I give no cost because my time, my call is a $500 call. But what I want you to imagine when you have a call with me is that I hand you a check for $500 first. I want people to see the value in the time spent with me, but it doesn't mean they have to pay anything out of pocket. because most people don't have an extra $500, especially today, to pay for a call. But I guarantee you spend an hour with me, your life will change. I can promise you that. Anyway, and that's a little narcissism on my part, the healthy, because you're awesome.
But I
Thanks,
can
Meek.
verify that it will change your life because I actually had that call with you. I can verify it because when we first met, we had been in a summit together, and I actually won a free session, and it really was amazing along with your book. You know, I like to say that I'm an expert at this topic, but you, my friend, are a guru. I've learned so much from you. I always love it when you join panels. We go back and forth. You always have so much wisdom, Sean. I'm very blessed to call you my friend and, colleague.
No, thank
Okay,
you.
real quick, Annie, before you jump in, I'm the word guy. I'm not a guru. I'm a guide.
Okay, we'll take it now. You said
Well, you're a
the
guru to me.
You're the
You're a
legend,
guru to me. You're one of my Yodas. So I'm going to geek out and say that you're one of my Yodas. So.
I agree with you. Look, so Denise says some of us set boundaries, yet they can be blown away, and the abusers dig in and they don't back down. Look, I agree with everything you say, Sean. I think we can begin to look at our patterns of behavior. When we must begin to look at our patterns of choices. Yes, there's a reason for many things, but we can't save anyone apart from ourselves. I truly don't believe we can. So let me play my video. I thought, should I not play it today? Should I just carry on talking? Let me play my video just to give you an idea of where I'm coming from on this one. A good few minutes, but do bear with us. And you might learn something, right? There it goes.
About why empaths attract narcissists. And I'm going to give you 3 principal things that we're going to talk about and the why. Now, understand that empaths can attract a trauma bond, right? So I'm not saying for all empaths, but a lot of us empaths have been through a lot in life, right? Where we can see in a loving perspective, right? Where we've gone through a place of forgiveness. A lot of times too, in spirituality, we become more empathic in our ways, but we also have to learn when we forgive, when we go through our journey, we also have to protect and abide by boundaries. And that's where we sometimes get into these relationships. Empaths attract narcissists because they don't, put up with they don't put the wall up for their boundaries, so they have a trauma bond. So meaning there's a commonality between the both of you in order for you to feel like your needs been met and this person to feel like your needs been met, right? So for example, the same thing happened in your relationships or in your childhood, and now you have a trauma bond. So now the empath starts to feel sorry for this person and sees how they've been through the same experience, and they can be more awakened as well in their life because you have too. So you come from a loving energy, but the narcissist will continue to try to push and take from empaths because they're typically so open if they don't abide or if they don't place boundaries into this. Another thing in regards to number 2 and why empaths attract narcissists is because they're wanting to help. Now, I'm empathic, obviously, because I want to help so much, but a big part of me too knows on the phone when I can work with a client and when I cannot work with a client as well. So even though you want to help, you have to understand your limits, your boundaries, and what serves you and who takes from you as well. So the reason why a lot of empaths attract this is because they want to help the narcissist, because they feel sometimes that they can change this person, or they see love for this person, or they see that they could be better if, right? But it doesn't work like that. So that's why that happens a lot with empaths or insecure people as well when they want to attract and they continue to attract narcissists in their life. Now, last tip in regards to why empaths attract narcissists is because a lot, like I've said, is because empaths have a lot of compassion and understanding to give. Now, it's really an amazing thing. I think empaths are one of the best type of humans out there, but also too, we've got to get better with setting up boundaries, which I talk about in another video for empaths, and which will help us characterize the people that are coming in front of us when we are wanting to be in a relationship or when we're dating. Because empaths can be very compassionate and they want to give, they can sometimes look past narcissistic tendencies and try to help, right? Because narcissists are really good in gaslighting and turning things around and manipulating and putting things back on other people. Because I've made a video about that, which I'll put up here in the cards as well. And you have to understand that if you are empathic and you find yourself attracting narcissists, what I want you, to understand is that your compassion and your understanding to give is a beautiful thing. But also we got to remain in tune with who we're giving that to. And also we have to be able to deflect from any negativity or someone that is not serving us too. Because when empaths get into relationships, they just typically want to go in and serve and serve and serve, because that's what feels good to them. Is when they help someone, it feels amazing to them. But yeah, as time goes on, it's draining. And then we're like, where did we get here? How did I get here? Why do I keep on doing the same thing over and over? And it's because we got to make sure that we're dividing the two and really being self-aware enough to move forward and understand the person that is beside us and next to us. If you like today's video about why empaths attract narcissists, and I'm going to give you 3 principal things that we're going to talk about in the why. Now, understand that empaths can attract a trauma bond, right? So
Something went wrong there. I don't know why it was replaying itself. I don't know how that happened. Crystal's got 6, YouTube friends here. So make sure you like today's video. So the ones on my YouTube as well. So make sure you like the video and you comment and you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Someone made
I will make sure to post your YouTube channel on mine again for that. And please share the link of that video. Everybody wants it. That was an amazing video.
Okay, I'll find the video. It's there somewhere. So I like to download them and then upload them from my end. So I could just send it to you by, I guess by Google Drive, Crystal, if that helps. That way you got the video.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Otherwise, I'll share the link I'll share the YouTube link. It's a YouTube video, so I have to share that with you. Look, nothing she said that we haven't mentioned today, right? Now they said the trauma bonds that Crystal mentioned that earlier on, based on a comment. They said the fact that we're trying to save people. We can't save people. It's not our place to save people. As Festus said, we must let people learn the lessons they're meant to learn. There's a reason why people are going through what they're going through. We can't make the world a better place by always giving. Like with some sort of Jesus Christ, we're not. We're not. I assure you. Mr. Calm, talk to us. Talk to us.
Yeah, finally. Shawn Michael. Did you realize that Shawn Michael actually means Superman? I'm pretty sure he knows that. But
agreed.
Shawn, do you? Shawn is Superman, and I never thought of him like that. I know he's a genius, and what he does.
Yeah, you guys you're not paying attention. He's actually Superman. But the other person that I'm pretty.
But I'm not your savior.
You were born to be, right? You're born to be.
You're close. You're close. Close enough. In this real world or this universe, you're close enough. Festus, that was an excellent. Do that more, I should say. Live your life the way you see fit. And be bold and unapologetic. I loved what you said. It was just mind-blowing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Annie, thanks.
Looking at, I've got a question. They're saying that watching the video, I think one of the things I took away, Michael, is the fact that we all have a soft spot for a type of person. Saying now for you, for me, maybe for Festus and for Tobiloba, maybe for many people here, it is the African entrepreneur who is starting out, who needs help. And we'll happily jump in to help because they're brothers and sisters to us, right? What are you going to say? I know, Michael. I know you personally. So I know that if a Ugandan woman turned up and said, "Mike, I need your help," you do it without even charging. What? So what are you going to do differently based on what you've heard today, my friend?
I'm learning here. I'm learning a lot. And from what I can conclude, from what everybody has said so far, the most important thing that I'm gravitating towards is loving yourself. You ultimately and deeply need to love yourself. I need to understand what that love is. What love is. What is love? You yourself need to understand what that is. And you need to interpret it. You need to know what it looks like. You need to know what it smells like. You need to know what it feels like. You need to know what it, what it sounds like. All your senses need to be embodied in knowing what love is. Because if you really know what love is, all your senses will know what it is. They'll automatically gravitate towards it. And your whole body will understand this is love. And when they see it, or it's replicated by somebody else, or if it's not replicated by somebody else, your body will understand. And you'll know what to do.
Okay, I like that. I like that. That's Festus made the same points. So I can understand where you're coming from. Now, Sharon Rose talks about the covert narcissists, the ones, so, and I think Sean mentioned it too. So the many narcissists, they're not bastards everywhere. They're bastards to you, to us, to me, to somebody, right? To some people. But they're quite happy to be lovely people to everyone else. How many times you hear the narcissist called a great person in our community, a great person in a network, but deep down, they're choosing who to exploit, who to abuse, who to put on. So COVID narcissists, they do. Of course, they exist, Sharon Rose, and so sadly, we don't know until we're in bed with them. Literally, I don't mean in bed that way. I mean until we have a relationship with them, we don't know that person. Maybe we do know, but no. So we just tell ourselves we don't know. That's a question I'm leaving you. Zara, I love your comment. A told the narcissist to look within, and they brought a mirror. Is that A brought a mirror? The narcissist brought a mirror. I think
that's pretty powerful, because I can add to what I said, and it's in line with this thinking. If you understand that you are also a narcissist and you're an empath, then I'm pretty sure you'll understand what narcissism is and how to deal with it. But you've got to also understand that you're a narcissist. In some way, shape, form, or another, you are a narcissist to somebody out there.
Ooh. Are you sure?
Yes,
Look,
sure.
I will argue.
I'm learning here, but my gut tells me that I'm sure about that.
I'm saying, okay, here's my argument. Sean's not a narcissist. Sean does not seek to exploit, to belittle, to abuse. No one here fits that bill. Now, I'm not disagreeing with you, Michael, that we all could be, because narcissism, like any human trait, it's in a spectrum, right? But saying we know how to stop before we get to the edge. Before we win the category, so to speak, in my world, that's doing books and bestsellers, right? We know where to stop just before we get to be, what's the word I'm looking for? What do medical people do? Diagnose you. I can classify you as such. Because if anyone else thinks differently, please feel free to unmute and tell me all about it. Because I don't think we'll. I think we
I have
have
a
not.
feeling that your buttons haven't been pressed enough to get you to that point yet.
Maybe it's the other way where
That,
I love myself enough to not need to exploit anyone. And I look at the world.
there's also that probability as well.
Someone said earlier, it's about understanding people, understanding yourself. I'm a psychologist, so it's for me to understand the world. I'm forever working on understanding people better. It doesn't mean I don't fall victim to people who want more from me, and I've learned to say no. I've said how I do what I do so far, and yes, maybe I'm still learning about the pricing thing, because that's one that I think, okay, so maybe in that sense, I create victims myself, right? And I would say by being too generous with my services, alas, I think I come back to my point from the beginning that in business, why you're being kind. Well, that is because someone else is paying for the service. Someone's paying good money, so you can afford to help someone for free or for less money, or whether it's because you need the money, maybe. Maybe it's a lack of confidence in yourself, in your business, that makes you reduce your price and do pro bono. There's many reasons why we're doing that. I say, as a business person, there's many reasons why I do generous pricing for some people, not for everyone. No, my bad. I hear you say, my bad. Sean, are you still there? I don't know if Sean's still there.
I'm still here.
So please, someone asked earlier, explain this comment you made, please. Boundaries without a consequence are more like preferences.
And I draw my knowledge from Dr. Henry Cloud, who is an expert. He actually has written several books on boundaries and true healthy boundaries, because again, sometimes people say boundaries and it's restrictions and limits, but it's not. Boundary is, this is the end of me and the beginning of you. And it's a line that if you cross it, there's a cost, right? If I sneak into the UK and don't go through the legal channels and I get caught, there's a consequence, right, Annie?
Yeah, you're thrown straight back out again. So we say.
Or any other country, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with our boundaries. There has to be a consequence. That's the backbone that we have to abide by. Otherwise, it's just like, I wish you would stop doing that. That's what I mean. There has to be, if you do X again, I will do Y. And it's just like, as a parent, I had a friend, as a parent, I learned this, but I had a friend who would say, like, if you don't stop doing that, I'm going to stop this car and beat your butt. The child never stopped because she knew it was an idle threat. I live in Guatemala, third world. Seatbelt, yeah, there's a seatbelt law. There's a helmet law. But the police don't do anything. People speed, they drive crazy, they drive on the side of the road because there's no consequence. It's the same thing with someone who's taking advantage of us, regardless of whether they're narcissistic or not. If they're not treating us how we want to be treated, and here's the rub, you got to have your own boundaries with yourself. Do you respect yourself enough? Do you have enough healthy narcissism to say, I'm important, I matter, and I will not tolerate that?
It's a struggle. It's a struggle. So especially for empaths, people who are genuinely empaths. For many of us, it's a struggle. Even for those who are kind and compassionate, empathetic, in other words, right? I think it's That's
I'm in that club.
admin to the club. And we say we're loath to write people off and say, right, you are that person I don't want to be friends with. We really are loath to do that. And so we'll let it drag on a bit longer than it should half the time. That's my feeling. But eventually I will smell the coffee and decide, you know what, you're really not serving me, and my principle I live by of giver's gain is not working. And what I see is not what I want to see. It's not who I want to be friends with. So goodbye. But it takes a while. It takes a while, Sean. It takes a while, right? That's the truth. So let me work on Queen Manic 420. That's one of Crystal's friends for sure. I hope we've answered your question, Denise. I see you also. Indigo Twin MX. Hello, beautiful. So these are Crystal's YouTube friends, right? Right. So Sharon Rose says, kind people aren't all empaths. Empaths are differentiated. They've got a different wiring of their brain, is what I say, Sharon Rose. And narcissists, yes, we can all be narcissistic. We all have a tendency to be narcissistic if we choose to be. But the real narcissists, the ones that abuse and exploit and belittle and destroy lives, they're a different kind of people. But look, we can all be those people. Say if we choose to behave in a certain way, then we'll become that person, right? I see what you're saying, Sharon Rose. We can be, but we're not necessarily. So the idea of self-awareness, I'm aware that everyone should be aware of me. I like that. That sounds very narcissistic. But now let's not be narcissistic. Narcissism involves self-obsession at the expense of others. Sharon rotates it quite well.
There's a difference. Sorry. I was going to say, there's a difference between having narcissistic tendencies and having narcissistic personality disorder. Having narcissistic tendencies is healthy. Having narcissistic personality disorder is the ones that we are wary of, that we're talking about.
I agree. Again, narcissistic tendencies, I think, it's easily mistaken with self-confidence. Which I think is it's a stretch. I think being self-confident, being aware of your gifts, as was mentioned earlier, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, why not? If we have a gift, then let's live it, right? Doesn't mean that we have to get others to suffer at our expense. That's the thing, right?
And have pride about it.
Yes.
And your talents, your skills, your abilities.
Yeah,
I think that's what a lot of times we've been conditioned. Like, you're too loud, you're too quiet, you're too energetic. Fill in the blank. We've all heard it probably at some point in our life, right? Fit in the mold.
Don't fit in the mold. Be like any. Live in any little bubble, any little happy place they call the world in my head, right? Everything is beautiful. I'm the greatest. What's only me in there? Jackie, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you haven't been to one of Jackie's shows, Just Jack's, it's on Monday nights going into Tuesday. So it's Monday night for US people. I'm glad you're here. So thank you so much for being here. Right. I want to play one of my sponsors' messages. Otherwise, I feel bad for my sponsors. So give me, which one do I want to play? Okay. I'll play Dr. Amaka's events. That way her event's coming up. So it's minutes and a bit. So here goes.
Something big is coming.
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 Something huge is coming.
Something big 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 is coming.
It's more than a conference. It's a call to rise.
We are building the next generation of bold thinkers.
And you, yes, you are part of this.
Rise to the future is here.
The Ascension
Scholar of Global Conference 2025
happens on November 22nd and 23rd online, and you have free access.
The theme is Where Boundaries Shatter and Brilliance Awakens.
This November, join a global tribe of thinkers, professionals, dreamers, and doers from Africa and the world. We gather to learn, grow, and ascend.
Get inspired by global leaders in career and professional development, business and SMEs, education, healthcare, tech, and investment, parenting, marriage, and society.
Come and meet 20 powerful speakers in one room in 2 days.
Register at scholarupacademy.com.
Save your seat. Let the ascent begin. See you there.
Yes. Well, I've done one of my duties. So do check out scholarupacademy.com. You know, you can see Dr. Amak is doing good work. She's elevating people all around the world to be more, to give more value on social media and elevate their brand and their presence. And it is free, by the way. And I'm going to get an award on the day. Now, one of the 2 days. I don't know which one yet. I don't know what award for what, right? I'll take it. You know, I'm liking awards. You know, so I've always liked awards. I want more. You know, and look, it's free. Go along, my friends. No reason not to, right? All right, who's unmuted? I don't know who's unmuted. Someone's unmuted. I can hear something. I can hear someone's microphone. Okay. Yeah, no, we're fine. Tobiloba, is you that's unmuted. You know, if you want to say something, feel free. If you're not, then please feel free to hold up for a bit. So Sean says, Dr. Henry Cloud, an expert on boundaries, shares about that a boundary isn't about making someone stop their behavior. It's about choosing what you will and will not participate in. In other words, our relationship, if you want to call it that. You know, you can't force them to respect the line. You can decide what happens if they cross it. Just as you explained beautifully just now, my friend. I hear you loud and clear. So Denise says, bingo, this feels like victim shaming. No, not really. Denise say, well, we're trying to, this is not about shaming a victim. You know, so maybe it is a point that, some people leave the door open to exploitation and harassment. I'm thinking of business and LinkedIn especially. You know, so we can protect ourselves without losing our empathetic superpower, and empath superpower, right? You know, so that's not an empath. It's not in their power. It's a hard, classifying people is different things. So Sean Michael, this feels like victim shaming, and there is such a lack of awareness and denial is strong. Yeah, well, look, no, it's a point of view. It's a point of view. You know, Sean says, for clarity, are my words coming across as victim shaming? Are they? You know, I think once we go down the line of saying the victim can take responsibility for something, I think people right now are likely to take it one way or the other, my friend. One way or the other, right? You know, I know our intention has not been to shame any victims. This is a conversation about how do we protect ourselves, and some of that involves some hard truths. And things Dr. Festus mentioned earlier in the earlier event, a lot of things happen because we create the conditions for them to happen. Take that as you will, right? Take that as you will. You know, whether that's us being open, whether that's us being too, not having the boundaries, as Sean's mentioned, whether that's us it was living our trauma, living our need for validation from others, and us living this thing that we can cure others, we can solve them, we can solve their problem, we can fix them. We can't. So Rose says we're highly sensitive or highly perceptive consciousness. These are empaths, right? We know without being told, and we are of the light. So the narcissists are hollow and feeding off the light because they can't generate it themselves. The empath dies. The empath doesn't need the narcissist. The narcissist needs the empaths, for sure. But we need to make sure that the narcissist doesn't get what they want, which is us giving to the point of ruining ourselves. So, if you do the work on why you feel you need the attention from the wrong people, you can be very happy. I agree with you. Of course, I agree with you, Janice. That's where we need to start, right? Again, I think Festus said that earlier. I have a few more comments. Oh, I'm trying to see if there's anyone new. I haven't awakened by looking by the looking glass reflection. Welcome. There's many more amazing comments, and I'm not gonna get through all of them. Ronald, I see you now. Welcome. Say, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. Love versus worship or despise. Can you love your neighbor as you love yourself? On paper you can, but in reality, that's Curtis asked, right? Yeah. It's a question. How do you learn to love yourself? But I think that we talked about this one day, didn't we? I said Sean was here. I'm sure Khan was here. We talked about how do you know what does it truly mean to love yourself. So welcome, William. So I was in your room last night. So glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. William has his shows late in the night. So Christy, I see you as well. Welcome. So Ronald says, my wife gave our daughter healthy love and assurance. Yes, I hope so, Ronald. I hope so. So would I say that's different to loving people in your business or even online? Is it? I think it is. So many people place more. They're as much as giving to people on that they never met, never will meet. Don't really know, and that's a problem. So Denise says, I think people internalize self-love when they feel loved. I agree. It's not in a vacuum, right? Sean, you've shown your face again, my friends. Talk to us. So where we're about to go. I'm not going to keep you forever tonight.
The cues work. When you were talking about self-love, yeah, we did talk about it, but that brought to mind a comment I shared. If we have not experienced that real love, that unconditional love for just being alive, one step that we often skip is we need to grieve it. We missed it. We didn't get it. So we need to, just like losing something or someone, we have to grieve it as part of the process. And then part of the process of experiencing self-love is put yourself in the spaces and the places and around the people who will show you that unconditional love as much as you can. That is how we can learn. When we can see true love, Mike mentioned God and Jesus, and for Christians, that's true. But I know a lot of Christians that read the Bible, they go to church every Sunday, and they still struggle with loving themselves. So you have to put yourself in the places and the spaces that and take action. Love yourself. Like, I'm brushing my teeth, even though right now I don't want to. I just want to lay in bed all day. I'm respecting and loving myself enough to take care of myself. And actions of doing the things you love. I kind of pushed my wife out today. She tends to stay home, and I said, no, go do the grocery shopping. You want a small little adventure to kind of test your comfort zone. Here's something easy. Go pick up a few things at the grocery store, come back. You don't have to go far, but it's all in practice of tomorrow she's going to go to the coffee shop and work on her book and do something that's important to her. That's an act of self-love. All the things you share, Annie, things you love to do.
Yeah.
Without your
Yeah, that's half my life, right? Maybe more than half my life. 90% of my joys leave me alone, leave me be to do what I like doing, and I will be quite happy. I don't think self-love is such a it's hard to do, I get, but I think as a concept, it is what the words say. What the words say. And self-love is truly loving yourself, your life, and being living in joy. If nothing happens, right? If it's just you, so when I say I live in my little bubble in my head, that's no. This I don't. No one can get in my head apart from unless I let you get in my head, which I don't. If you pay me loads of money, I might let you in my head. Otherwise, it's my joy is about me. Every day is about me living the life I want to live, whilst giving my clients, my family, my pets the love that I promise them, I guess, so to speak, right? I've been just being able to live in peace with ourselves. That's what self-love looks like, really. And maybe there's more to it than that. Topple over. So look, let's round up. I don't want to keep you here all day, otherwise we'll be here forever. So topple over. I'll come to you next. So let me go through there. Let me say, Indigo Twin MX's comments. I took a deep step in my healing journey a few years ago. I embrace the concepts that I'm the same person as I was back then, but I have grown. I've learned to give myself grace for that, right? So that's self-love. And that's appreciating yourself every time, at all times. Is that really so hard to do? It is. Of course it is. Topple over, please. Have the mic.
Wow, this has been a very wonderful ride so far. This is over 2 hours on this live stream. I just want to appreciate what first was shared the other time. It was a jam. It was really, really beautiful things he shared with us the other time, right? We love people the way we are instead of loving them for how they are, right? That was the summary of what it was making us to understand. And I'm going to leave all with this tonight, that we also are not perfect. We are not. And since you are in a perfect imperfection world, there's nothing that makes you better than the person you even call a narcissist. If you can sit down and then study them very well, right? We are not so perfect as well. And when you ask, can we love our neighbor as ourselves? We can. We can. If we learn to be considerate, if we consider people, if we see beyond their face, we see beyond just how they express themselves. Know how we can be able to show them the real love that they deserve. So don't operate from the standpoint of I know better than this person. Operate from we are the same. We just have different opinion. We are the same. We just have different opinion. So we need to understand that. And then we'll be able to have a beautiful life, beautiful business, and a beautiful society. So please take care and do have a wonderful evening on your hand. Thank you so much for putting this together, Mr. Annie. I yield my mark to you.
thanks for joining us, my friend. That's James there, right? Thank you so much. Now we are the same, just with different opinions, and that's the reality, right? Miss Alavine, I'll give the mic to you. What do you want to leave us with today, my friend?
Thank you very much for the mic. In fact, I can say without boundaries, we will be manipulated by others, and we will go toward some chaos in our life with others also. And I can also notice that narcissists needs uh, to have some energy, and they are happy to see us suffers. So everyone, not just empath. And if we want to stop them, we have to know who we are. We have to know to who we want to give our compassion, and we need to have serious and fixed boundaries, and not just to go for I want to give and to give. We have to learn. um, uh, so maybe it could be bad to say that, but we need to learn how to take in order to be able to give later. Because if our glass of water is empty, we will not be able to give someone else some help or some water if this person needs it. So that's my take. So I deeply think we need to have boundaries, and I also think the line between being, let's say, a real narcissist and being a healthy narcissist is the fact when we are so let's say bad narcissist, it is the fact we choose to hurt others because we don't know how to do otherwise. And if we have the choice between hurting others or stopping hurting them, and just to help them when we can do that. So, and I also see the comment of Mr. Com. Yes, Mr. Com, I'm not sleeping right now, and it is 3:17 a.m. here. That's for you.
Wow. I thought it was late here. It's just gone past midnight, so now I know your time zone. You know, but no, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for but look, I could feel it. Are we narcissists? No, Alavine likes to stay up at night. She's a nocturnal, like many of us. Like some of us are. I'm nocturnal, so our late nights is as good for us as any other time, really. Yeah, Togbe, I see you. Say hi, Miss Noni. She say it's good to see you here, War Eagle. Okay, that's between you two, right? That's to me, but I'm just glad you're here. So Denise said there's a book I've written by there's a book I live by written by Mel Robbins. It's called Let Them. Now they're going to say and do whatever they want and do, and we cannot control that. We can control our responses. Then she drills down on let me. We have to be aligned to who we are and live our lives on our terms. Isn't that so true, Denise? Isn't that so true? So I think that's a good message. I said, no, they say the weirdos, the ones who will get angry that will refuse to carry on giving. Let them do what they want to do. It's up to them. Let them go and rot, cry somewhere, do what, they can make comments where they like. We haven't got to respond to it. That's always what it comes down to at the end of the day, Denise. I agree with you. So ultimately it's about us living on our terms. And living what we feel right, what we know is right for us. Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you for all your amazing comments today. Thank you for joining us as well. Mr. Calm says, I wanted to make room for more people to come up on stage and speak to this. Michael, my friend, we've had 9 people at one time. I'm saying, how many more do you want in a day? This is why my events go so long, so I can't complain. I thank all of you for always showing up, always, and for coming to add to the conversation. Greg, the cameraman, so glad you're here. Have I missed anyone? I'm trying not to. I'm trying to see. I'm looking at for who's here more than anything else, more than the comments. So Tiff 420, welcome as well. You're never late, my friend. You're never late. You're here. That's an important thing. So seeking out the concubus the concubus as an empath, I feel now that is part of selfish need that turns more toxic as time progresses. We need the person to want us, and then they become suffocating and so on. So the empath has unique needs. This is the issue, right? As Sean says, empaths can lead with compassion, generosity, and a deep desire to understand. These are their superpowers. The narcissist is drawn to this and see the empath's energy as a renewable source that never runs out. Sean, please, what do you want to leave us with today, Sean?
So here's my closing thought. Real self-love, it's not about bubble baths or mantras. It's refusing to abandon yourself ever again. Learning that empathy is not tolerating abuse. Boundaries are love in action. Your worth, it was never theirs to decide. Narcissists will test it. Trauma bonds will try to pull you back. Old conditioning will whisper in your ear that you're too much for choosing you. But every time we say no to what diminishes you and yes to what protects you, it's not selfish. It's being sovereign.
Oh, beautifully said, my friend. Beautifully said. No, it's not a bad word if it doesn't serve you. I agree with that completely. Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know whether you flash your mic, Alvina, so something twitched in front of my eyes. I don't know if so. Otherwise, I'll go to Crystal. Let me welcome Gabe as well. Gabe, thanks for joining us. Haven't seen you for a while. So there's Mel is here as well. No, it's not Mel. Where's Mel? I saw Mel somewhere else. I thought I saw Mel. Okay, it's me. It's me. My eyesight is getting later, right? So what said Christina? Empaths can do the internal work to change and want to change. On the other hand, narcissists are lazy and are delusional. They can't do the internal work to change simply because they can't admit that there's something lacking in them. That's where narcissism comes in. They're stuck in the cycle of feeling bad, but think they need to destroy others to feel better about themselves. So sad, right? So sad. CLH, I see you. Welcome. Love bombing, asking for money, block. I agree with you entirely. I agree with you. Janice, no, we have to learn to say no and say bye. No bye. Goodbye. I see you, Sugar Daddy. Kenny says, Mike and Bill too. Okay, so I've got most of the comments, I think. I don't see any glaring ones I've missed. Okay, so let's wrap up. Where am I going next? I think I'm going to Crystal. Crystal, what do you want to leave us with, my friend?
I wanted to bring up one thing when we were all talking about self-love. When we are born, the only thing we truly know when it comes to emotions, besides, hunger and things, babies are inherently love. We don't know any other emotion. When we look at our mothers, we feel that unconditional love. And as we grow, we do get groomed in a sense, whether we have the unconditional love from our parents and they show it, or whether we are taught that love is transitional. And a lot of it does stem back to our childhood when it comes to the whole being with self-love and things like that, because our self-esteem starts at a very young age. If you have very supportive parents that are uplifting, they help you and things like that, you are more prone to be able to have self-love and to be able to set boundaries. As long, but if you have parents who are of the tough love community, so to speak, where, okay, like I have an example. When I was in college, I had gotten 2 A's, a B, and a C on my report card. Now, I brought up my history grade from a D because I don't do well on like little tests, but between doing some extra credit work and my final, I brought that D all the way up to a B plus. And all my mom could say is, I can't believe you got a C. And making me feel bad when I got the C in a subject that I'm really not good in. It was math and I was struggling. And instead of, validating the hard work that I put in on the other things, she made me feel bad about myself. And that plays into our self-love. So I just wanted to put that out there. I love all you guys, but I'm so far behind on my clothes because of this. It's a good thing. I love you, but I wanted to let it stream because, like I said, my YouTube side was really engaging in the chat and everything, really getting a lot from this conversation from all of our friends on LinkedIn, that I didn't want to stop the stream and leave. So I kind of got sucked in.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's for joining us, for spending your time with us, and for bringing your friends along as well. Look, I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. Our our sense of self-love can go back to our childhood. I guess I will say, it's still, we can change. We can change it. It's not we can, we have to change it. And that's when self-love comes naturally to most people. I think that we have to learn. This is where someone like Sean comes along, to where someone like Festus comes along, right? Where like you, Crystal, comes along. So I do make this cry that many people will love. Now they think they can just listen to conversations about mindset. They think they can just read the books. They think they can just watch the videos and they will get it. Nah, so now define details. Define details. Now the self-love, the self-awareness, the habits, changing our habits. All those things, the things that are in our subconscious. It takes a coach to help to work with you to bring those things in the way that serve you. That's what I've learned. I tried doing it myself. It didn't work. Self-love, I thought I had it down to a T, but it didn't work. In the end, say only by working with a coach who will look at you and ask you the right question and give you the right prompts and give you the right way of thinking, that we actually then begin to change how we think, how we feel, how we be. That's the beauty of life. But a good coach is worth their weight in gold. And God knows there's enough coaches on LinkedIn to last a lifetime, right? Well, talk to Sean is what I say. Talk to Crystal. Talk to Festus. Talk to the coaches who we know. You'd be amazed the transformation they can make for our lives. Festus, what do you want to leave us with today, my friend?
Okay. All right. Here's what I would say. Let me say that one thing I love so much about humans is that we often know what we know the solution to our problem, but we don't want to apply them, because when we listen to the solution, we end up interpreting it in our own way instead of listening to what we're hearing. We don't lack solution. We don't want to implement them because they don't conform to what we have in our mind. Oftentimes when I talk to people, even those that come to me and be like, I need your help, and you start talking to them, at some point, because one thing that makes you a good someone that really provides solution is being able to listen very well, right? So sometimes when we listen closely, you realize that someone is is really conflicting, and here's the solution, but in their mind they're interpreting it another way around. I'm saying this to say that everything we've discussed today is powerful and is capable of transforming our lives, but it all boils back to how we use it. We can keep on interpreting it in our own way and might not even see the message. Or we can decide to say, let me really immerse myself in this and get something out of it. So the human race is not lacking in solutions. We just deliberately don't want to apply it because we want to confirm. And even if it comes to coaching, right? The coach never tells you what you've not heard before. But just that at some point you say, let me just believe this guy. And it gets to a point where they whatever they're telling you start manifesting. But you've known it all along. So tonight, it's all about, are we willing to really try something out, or we keep interpreting what we heard based on what we know? Because once you interpret, you don't get the message. It's not possible. So that's just me for tonight, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate everybody who contributed, all the everything being said. Amazing. I'm grateful, and I appreciate the fact that I get to learn a lot out here. God bless.
Thank you. You're part of us learning as well, my friend. I think look, you have a big point. And I say this is one of my frustrations, maybe. I try not to get frustrated by it. This is one of my realities, Festus, which is that a lot of people, they come to us, they come to my show, they come to Crystal's show, they go to Sean's show, they listen, they hear. And often they hear the same things, but nothing changes. I could lament, but I don't. I just take it that one day it will dawn that the moment will come when they have to make a choice. The same has happened to me. That's what happened to me. So for years I didn't. I was that person who had a coach from maybe the second month in business, and I realized I had no clue. The coach told me what to do. Do this. He gave me so many great principles. You can't run a business like a leaking bucket. I'm like, what? Basically you can't fill a leaking bucket with customers. If you keep losing customers, all you're going to do is keep losing customers. You can get as many new ones as you like. You're going to keep losing customers, right? So these things I learned, Festus, and the shame for me is that I didn't apply most of the things I learned that he tried to teach me. I didn't. Not only when I left coaching relationship did I suddenly get many of the things that he was trying to share with me. So many times that I said, our next session, I go and see him. He's banging on the table. Why haven't you done this simple thing? I'm like, I did, but I didn't do it with all my gusto. I didn't do it with all I had. I didn't do it fully. Everything was partial. Everything was bits and bits. I did a bit, but I didn't do the rest. So I didn't really see the benefit. I didn't really see the difference, right? So if one person goes away from here today and does something different, I'll take it, whatever that may be, right? Now, if you're wondering what can I do different, go and watch a replay, my friends. It's on my YouTube. I will always send you there, because that's where I get credits for you spending your time watching our content. But now, look, let's learn to take action. If we want things to change, let's make a change. I think someone said it earlier, right? If we don't change, nothing changes. That's so true, right? So thank you so much, everyone. I think that's it. Crystal, is there anything else you want to say? Crystal? I don't know if there's anything that you didn't say that you want to say, but I say hopefully everyone said everything. Here's my YouTube link. If you are inclined to watch a replay, please watch on my YouTube, like, comment, and so on and so forth, right? Yeah, Sean, I love that comment. I can see on my LinkedIn, not on my StreamYard. So when the student is ready, the master will appear. So when nothing happens by coincidence is what I always say, Sean. Now, when we need something is when we suddenly see in front of us. Again, I'm sure we said earlier, many things, many of the things we need in this lifetime to achieve our goals are in front of us already. We just don't see them until the time comes. Suddenly they stand out like a beacon, right? Suddenly they stand out like a bright light, and we almost like we can't miss it. That's how life works, my friends. Look, thank you so much, everyone. I can't thank you enough. There's more comments coming. Alvin not sleeping. That's Alvin for you, right? Thank you so much, everyone. Alvin, look, we do sleep, Michael. We sleep. I promise you. Just like when daylight comes, that's when we go to sleep.
Yes,
Look,
I will sleep later. I will
exactly.
go to sleep later. But I want just to say something. You said you applied a part of the things you received when you were under someone else coaching. And I think everyone has a path to follow. And sometimes because we are not ready, not because we are not really ready, but because of our fears, our unconscious fears, we don't do everything fairly. And let's say, we take more time to do things we can do faster. And that is something I'm thinking about right now, about my process too. And I think some decisions I could make faster, I avoid them because I'm afraid to face my past, my traumas, or my gifts, or my abilities. And I think I need to think on to sleep on that. And thank you very much for this point, Annie, and thank you for bringing me on your topics. That's it,
Yeah,
and your
no,
life.
I appreciate your honesty. So the way I try and live is if I say I can't, I'm almost obliged to at least give it my best shot. Now, if I say I can't because I fear something, I'm obliged to do it because I know it's not my fear is just a feeling, it's not real, right? I'm saying, Alevina, when you say such words, I think we can all do more, and just go for it. Is what I say. If you know it's fear that's stopping you, always just turn it around and go for it. And what can go wrong, right? You soon find out. Festus, my brother from another mother, says Mike. Hopefully you two are connected. I don't know. I wouldn't want siblings not talking to each other, right? Go in the comments and connect, my friend. If you need help, let me know. Look, thank you so much, everyone. So do enjoy yourselves. I still got one more show tonight. That's Power Thinking with Stanley Green. I think it starts in a couple of hours. So 2:30 my time. What's that? 9:30, 9:15, 9:30 EST, something like that. Before that, I'll leave you with a video about his app, the Power Thinking app. I mentioned it earlier. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy. So we're back again, I'm sure, tomorrow. Enjoy your night, everyone. Take care, everyone.